Have you ever found yourself at a party looking for pets to interact with? Or maybe you sat through a team building exercise, silently counting the minutes until you could retreat to a blissful, people-free zone. Or maybe you've excused yourself from a loud conversation, claiming you needed to refill your drink, only to find yourself hiding in the kitchen. If so, you're in the right place, because today we are diving into the beauty of not being a people person and why that's perfectly okay. Hey there, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rachel, and I am here to talk health, happiness, and embracing what makes you, you. Quirks, dark humor, and all. Hopefully it's stuff that's relatable and helpful and a little amusing, but always honest. If that appeals to you at all, give me a follow. It's a brand new year, and while the start of the year is all about resolutions and new year, new me energy for a lot of people, I'm over here thinking about something different. Authenticity. This year, I want to lean all the way into being unapologetically myself. I hope you'll join me in doing the same thing, because the world needs more of us just showing up as we truly are. Speaking of being myself, I seem to manage to offend people without even trying, which is just the world we live in these days. In my last video, there was a mug sitting in the frame that some people didn't care for. Am I here to apologize for it? Absolutely not. Listen, I have had this mug since my second breast cancer diagnosis. A friend gave it to me, and it was exactly what I needed. It made me laugh during an incredibly stressful time, and even now, it's one of my favorite things, and it makes me smile. I'm holding on to it in a lot of videos, you just don't see it. But in the last one, I didn't realize it was in the frame until I was editing. There was no cropping it out. I even debated re-recording the video, and not surprisingly, some people were offended. And you know what? That's okay. This mug has deep meaning to me, and if people can't see that or they want to be offended, that's on them. I am not here to apologize for my warped sense of humor. If someone doesn't like that and decides to leave my channel, that just means that I am not the person for them, and that is perfectly fine. Before that, it was the comment in another video about organized religion. There are a lot of people out there who cannot tolerate people's differing opinions or personalities. We can't all fit into everyone's world, but when you show up as your true self, you attract the people who get you. Your tribe, if you will. And those are the connections that matter. That is the beauty of YouTube. You can always find people you relate to. Now, back to the topic at hand. Show of hands, who has ever sat in a job interview and said, I'm a people person? Don't be shy and no lying. I used to work in human resources. Interviewing people was my job. And I swear, 90% of people from the lowest paying job to some of the highest said it. We feel like we have to be a people person or no one's going to want to hire us. Of course, the alternative, saying people stress me out, probably isn't the best route either. Could you imagine? Hi, yes, I'm here for the customer service position, but I really cannot stand interacting with people. That is a sure route to the we'll call you pile. It's okay. We have all been there. I used to say it too. The thing is, I really thought I was a people person once upon a time. Why? Well, because my parents always told me I was. Oh, Rachel, you're so good with people. My parents were wrong. Really wrong. Or maybe they were just being hopeful. But in hindsight, I think, no, I know. I just talked a lot as a kid, which isn't quite the same thing. As I've grown older, I have realized something really important. I am not a people person, and that is perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong, I can talk to anyone for at least a little while. Honestly, small talk with strangers is actually easier for me than it is with people I know well. Probably because there's less pressure. Strangers don't know you, so there's no expectation. You can have a short conversation and then disappear into the ether. But here's the twist. I'm not a total introvert either. Turns out I'm what they call an ambivert. A delightful little cocktail of introversion and extroversion. I can talk to anyone about damn near anything for a short time. My social battery is strong, but it's tiny. Imagine a phone that charges in 5 minutes, but it dies after 30. That's me. It's a gift and a curse. Being an ambivert is honestly the worst of the mix as far as I'm concerned. Why? Because people think you're an extrovert, and because you can be quiet and a good listener, they think you're perfectly suited to chairing things and leading things, and the quiet introvert in you will not let you say no. It took me a really long time to figure this out. Jury foreman, committee chair, the person who's chosen to develop a statewide training program, you name it, I've had to do it. Let's take a minute to unpack what being a people person actually means. It is that human unicorn who thrives on socializing, can handle the most exhausting personalities without breaking a sweat, and actually enjoys the chaos of people. If that's you, amazing. Teach me your ways. Just kidding. That would be horrible. For the rest of us, just thinking about being in that headspace sounds like running a marathon without training. Seriously, it is a term that is thrown around so often it's almost meaningless. Does it mean you thrive in social settings? That you love group projects, team building exercises, or crowded events? If so, then I am definitely not a people person. But here's the thing. That doesn't make me unfriendly, rude, or incapable of getting along with others. Let's just squash that misconception right now. It just means that I find people, bless their hearts, exhausting. Some of us absolutely thrived during the pandemic, didn't we? Stay home, avoid crowds, wear a mask in public so no one feels compelled to strike up a conversation. Dream come true. And while some people dreaded isolation, others of us were thinking, wait, you mean I don't have to make excuses anymore? Glorious. I seriously miss those days sometimes. But let's be real. We introverts and ambiverts start heading for a wall the second we leave the house. And when we hit it, we are absolutely done. There are days when you just know you should go out or you have to, but every fiber of your being wants to stay cocooned at home. And for us, the best part of any party is always the pets. I'm the person sitting with the dog or petting the cat, and I love that there is always a small group of us who are quietly fighting for that same job. Those are my people. We may not say much to each other, but we are united in our shared love of animals and our mutual understanding that parties are so much better when you can bond with a dog in the corner, quietly and separately united. Now, let me clarify something. Just because someone is quiet or shy or introverted doesn't mean they're not intelligent. Quite the contrary, actually. Introverts are often some of the sharpest people in the room. While other people are busy talking, they're observing, listening, and gathering information, reading the room and noticing details others might miss. That's why introverts tend to excel at problem solving and offering deep insights when they speak. They bring depth and reflection and a calming presence that balances out the enthusiasm and the energy of extroverts. In fact, it's often introverts who come up with the most creative ideas, the most thoughtful solutions, and the most profound thoughts. Why? Because we take the time to think things through. We're not always rushing to fill the silence to prove a point. We try not to dive into conversations. We tend to dip our toes in and only jump in when we have something meaningful to contribute. If we jump in too soon, we get awkward really fast. But what about ambiverts? Those of us straddling the line between the two? Ambiverts bring a unique versatility to the table. We can adapt to a variety of social situations, reading the room and matching the energy as needed, if we're in the mood. We are equally comfortable diving into deep conversations or light banter. Plus, we tend to strike a balance between engaging with others and knowing when to step back, making us great at mediating or facilitating or just keeping things grounded. Ambiverts are social chameleons, switching gears to fit the moment until we're done. It's a bit of a superpower, really, but a superpower with a time limit. Because once we're out of energy, that's it. The cloak of sociability vanishes and we just want to go home. For me, being a massage therapist was the perfect job. I didn't have to talk to people much, if at all. In fact, I encouraged quiet, except for when I needed to ask specific questions about the massage. It was bliss. Before that, I worked in personnel and human resources, politics, and the service industry. Maybe that's why I find people so draining now. I have already dealt with enough of them to last a lifetime. I don't hate people. I really don't, even though I jokingly say it sometimes. It's just that there are so many of them, and they're always around, doing people things like making noise and asking questions or having opinions. It's a lot to take in. Let's face it, we live in a world that glorifies being outgoing. From childhood, we're told to make friends and be a team player and network as if our happiness and our success depend entirely on how well we connect with others. But guess what? They don't. Not everyone thrives in social settings, and that's okay. Being a quiet or introspective person does not mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that you've embraced who you are, and that is a beautiful thing, my friend. So, if you're someone who's ever dreaded the phrase team building exercise, or groaned at the thought of a group project, or considered hiding in a bathroom at a party, congratulations. You might not be a people person either. And guess what? The world still needs you. Being true to yourself, honoring your limits, and finding joy in your way of connecting with others, or not connecting, honestly, that is what really matters. Don't let people force you into being something you're not. If you try to fake it, if you suppress who you are to fit someone else's idea of normal, you're going to end up miserable. Nobody wants that, least of all you. So be unapologetically you. Fly that freak flag, quietly and unobtrusively, of course. Because let's face it, introverts and ambiverts are not the marching through the streets kind of people. We're more the enjoying the show from a corner table kind, and that is perfectly okay. Tell me, if you are not a people person, what is your favorite way to recharge? Curling up with a book, hanging out with your pets, or a Netflix binge? Let me know in the comments. And for those of you who are people, do you need to recharge after all that socializing? Do you thrive on more interaction, or do you enjoy a little solitude yourself? Thanks for watching. As always, take care of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.